defense they face this season. A game of heavyweights will get you set for kickoff and break down an action-packed Week 11 on Monday Night Countdown presented by Subway. Who wants to be in Tampa in February? Hall of Famer Steve Young, who once wore the creamsicle colors, is a Pirate tonight. Steve, on board the Buccaneers ship. And Steve, we know you probably can't even hear us now, but we wish that we were there with you. We have water. We're here at the Seaport District. That'll have to suffice. Here with Booger McFarland, Hall of Famer Randy Moss, Adam Schefter. I'm Susie Colbert. Steve, you doing okay there on the ship?
We made it. It's, you're at ground zero right here.
All right, well, we know how big this game is tonight. So start us off here. What's the biggest thing you're looking forward to tonight?
There's no question. Both sides of the ball, when they break the huddle of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are ready to go to the Super Bowl, and getting more so, I think, every week as they get more cohesive. Because Tom Brady, he's the guy that's going to draw that. No one's better than him, than Peyton Manning, getting that team more cohesive and data-driven to have an accountability and a sense of direction. And really, it's just the number of things that they do so well. But when they break the huddle on both sides of the ball, the one place they're not ready for the Super Bowl is the offensive line. Against the Chicago Bears, those top 5 pass rushers, when they can bring 4, like the Bears, like the Saints, like the Rams, that's why tonight is so pivotal. If you think that they actually can go to the Super Bowl, then you watch those 5 offensive linemen, and can they keep a 43-year-old, Tom's never been fast, Susie, but he's not getting faster. And then right up the middle, you saw what happened those couple of weeks against those great pass rushing teams. It's a problem. If it's a problem tonight, then it's a problem for the Super Bowl. And I think every Buccaneer fan is going to be looking tonight to see what happens against this Ram defensive front.
With the defensive front coming after this Tampa Bay Bucs offense, you got to be able to use your stars tonight, Book. A star-studded offense tonight going against a star-studded defense. I'm talking about Leonard Floyd, pass rusher, Aaron Donald. Later on, I'm going to tell you about this guy named Waldo Adam Schefter. And there's a young cornerback by the name of Williams that's having a little success as of lately. But when you got Brown, you got Grump, you got Godwin, you got Evans, man, it's a lot of firepower on that offensive side for Tom Brady. Tonight is not to let the offensive line let him down tonight. He needs to let that ball go tonight, Book.
We came into this season saying that the Buccaneers would play better mid-season than they did early in the season. Well, guess what? It's mid-season right now. So if not now, when? When are the Buccaneers going to show up and start to play consistently, offensively, defensively? Last time out, Todd Bowles, you got embarrassed, okay, by Sean Payton. Sean Payton embarrassed you in a primetime game. Well, guess who's coming in tonight? One of the better young play callers in this league, Sean McVay.
Yes.
And if you don't think Sean McVay and this offense will embarrass you, you got another thing coming. So I'm seeing if the Buccaneers can play consistently under the lights tonight.
Well, here's what I'm looking at. I know that the winner of this game gets to make a big statement and move ahead in its division and compete for that. But the flip side to this is the loser of this game might come out ahead because the loser might be more apt to get the wild card. And the wild card is more apt to play at the winner of the NFC East. Would you rather win your division, be it the NFC South or the NFC West, and play the Saints or the Bucs or one of those teams? Would you rather finish as the wild card and travel to Dallas or Philadelphia or Washington? I think you'd rather do that than win the division.
However you slice it, both head coaches have told their players this is playoff football tonight. Right, so lots to get to on tonight's game. But Adam, let's start with news around the NFL, and we'll start with bad news, not just for the Bengals, but for the NFL. The number 1 overall draft pick is out.
And it was worse news than what was expected, Susie. Joe Burrow went down yesterday with what turned out to be a torn ACL, a torn MCL. My understanding is there's damage to his PCL, there's damage to his meniscus. He's going to have reconstructive knee surgery. And my understanding is, while everybody's different, everybody rehabs different, the timeline for an injury like this is anywhere from 9 months on the aggressive side to up to a year. So the fact of the matter is, at the very least, his status for the 2021 season is in question. And you're right, it is a loss for everybody.
And if the status for the 21 season is in question, why are we even talking about it? I get it. We're going to wait and see. Let's see how the surgery goes and rehab, et cetera, et cetera. But the Bengals have finally found the franchise quarterback. I think we all can realize that since Carson Palmer, they've been looking and searching. And no slight to Andy Dalton, but this guy is the franchise. And if there's any question whatsoever about 2021, bringing him back for 3-4 games, don't bring him back at all. Bring him back in 2022 because this team is not ready to win right now anyway. The offensive line is a mess. Everybody's wondering why would you have this young man passing so many times behind a porous offensive line. So if I'm the Bengals, it's really simple. Joe Burrow, take your time. You tell us when you're ready. In the meantime, let's get the offensive line ready to go. Let's get the defense ready to go because they have a franchise quarterback, and he'll be ready in 2022.
You're talking about franchise quarterback, Book. Yes, it was sad to see him go down, but I want to talk about his tweet that he gave back to the account when he said, "You cannot get rid of me that easy." That's the franchise quarterback talking. And you said, hey, maybe we won't see him next season. But Joe Burrow, I'm going to tell you what, you have a lot of fans rooting for you. So best of luck, speedy recovery. Can't wait till you get back on the field.
Steve, how would you advise Burrow?
First of all, with that kind of an injury, when it's, literally your knee goes backwards, it just, it's devastating. The key, Susie, because the game is getting more college-like, the demand of a quarterback to be able to be mobile, to get those free yards we talk about every week, he needs that mobility back. So forget about however long it takes. Do whatever it takes to get completely healed and safe and try to work on that mobility, because I've seen these kind of injuries and people come back and some people don't get back to 80%, 90%. He's going to need every bit of it because the game is moving away from people who can't move. And so that mobility, that knee, in the past, 20 years ago, you're like, it's all right, he'll get back and throw in the pocket. That's not the case anymore. He needs that knee to go be the best quarterback he can be in the NFL today.
All right, we wish Joe the best. In news related to the AFC North, because it involves the Ravens, fresh off their loss to Tennessee, they've got this really short week. They play the undefeated Steelers on Thursday night. And Adam, let's hit on COVID protocols. They're going to be without their top 2 running backs.
Amazing, right? Mark Ingram tested positive. J.K. Dobbins tested positive. It knocks them out of Thursday night's game. You have to wonder about the players that were in close contact to them as well. Who knows who else is going to show up this week on that list for the Baltimore Ravens on a short week where they have to travel to Pittsburgh. As it is right now, Gus Edwards, who's been around them, will be a running back on Thursday night. Justice Hill will be a running back. Again, I can tell you this, from speaking to other teams when they've been in situations, whenever there's a player, especially in a certain position group, they're always curious and concerned about the other players. The Ravens already are shorthanded now going into Pittsburgh, not to mention the injuries they have along the offensive and defensive lines.
What other COVID news do you have?
Well, we've got Adam Thielen, the Vikings wide receiver, going on the reserve COVID-19 list today. The Bears safety, Eddie Jackson, being placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. And we're still waiting from the 49ers this week to come back from the bye. They've got a bunch of players on that list as well. All
right, so we'll stay on top of all of this, but let's stick with the Ravens because they do have this short week and face the Steelers. Randy, when it comes to the Ravens as a whole, what concerns you the most?
Mine is bully ball, what the Ravens have done for the past couple of years of being able to force their will on opposing teams. Now, for the last couple of weeks, the teams have been returning the favor. When I look at the game against New England, bully ball. When you look yesterday against the Tennessee Titans, regardless of who sparked it at the midfield, was it a player or was it the head coach? Well, there was still bully ball played yesterday. When you see a guy like A.J. Brown, the Ravens got wore down in the second half. The reason why, you got a guy like A.J. Brown, and they bring in the closer right here. I said the hotel with brick shoulder pads on. They did not want to stop him, Book. So going forward, I know it's a short week for the Baltimore Ravens, but what we're used to seeing from the Baltimore Ravens now teams is returning that favor.
I think what you talk about is teams used to fear the Ravens. Remember Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, you go into that stadium, you may win, but at what price? Now, with this Ravens team, even going back to last year, not the same. Not as physical, and I get it. Calais Campbell, Williams, not in the middle, but they've given up 173 yards the last 2 weeks running the football.
That hurt them, Book. That hurt them.
Exactly.
That hurt them.
That's not Baltimore Raven football. And Coach Harbaugh, he can say whatever he want to say, and Lamar kind of gave us a little insight. He gave us a little insight. He said he didn't think that they wanted it as bad as the other team. And to me, That's an issue, Steve. When your quarterback says that, now Harbaugh tried to minimize that, but that's coming from a guy in the locker room, Steve. And to me, that signals a little something going on in that Raven locker room.
I don't question their toughness, Boog. I recognize you see it's come down a little bit, but that's not their problem. They have a more systemic problem. Their offense was built kind of like all into this explosive running game, including Lamar. And you saw it when they're behind or yesterday when they had to take the lead and extend it. They're not explosive, and the game is getting more explosive every year. And so the NFL, I think, is moving away from this rushing game that can be explosive, but the pass game that can't catch up. We talk about it every week. In my mind, they're not giving Lamar all the chances to develop into an explosive passer. Look at Kyler Murray last week. Look at Patrick Mahomes. Look at these super explosive. Russell Wilson. All have explosive passing games in their pocket to use. And I think if you don't have that, how can you expect to go to the Super Bowl every year? I know that you say the bully ball is down a little bit, but to me, this is a more systemic issue that the game is leaving them and what they did last year.
Well, Steve, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit because we saw two teams last year have fantastic years running the football, the 49ers and the Ravens, and there are injuries that are playing a part of that this season. So the fact that you say the running game is being left behind, I'm going to disagree. You can still run the football and be a physical guy, Adam, running the ball, a physical team, but you have to be healthy and you have to have their guys. The Ravens are